let's bring our guest on so you know who we're talking about. Our guest is going to be none other than the president of business operations for Orange County Soccer Club, Dan Rutstein. Dan, Larry called it out and said, we definitely know you're not going to be the one asked to sort of take control of the offensive attack for Orange County. Can we say Larry was correct on that?
Do you want a prediction for the scoreline for Saturday?
Do
if
it.
you
Give
want
it to us,
provide
Dan.
one, Dan, I just never know like the rules of team staff or the team players or anyone.
I'll give you a prediction.
Go for it.
Brad is correct. No players will be at Winefest.
I mean,
You notice-
yay.
Wait. So we have to be a little worried because you noticed he did not answer the question about Larry's comment of whether or not he will be part of the successful attack for Orange County.
So I'm too offended to answer that question. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit older than I used to be, but the fact you can all laugh about the fact that I'm not good enough to play professional soccer, I think is slightly mean when I've come on as a guest on your podcast.
Yeah, but aren't you a goalie?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a couple of issues. One is I'm a goalie. Two is I'm nearly as old as Larry. So, it's probably for the best that I don't make the squad.
No, we appreciate you having some fun with us on those questions as we bring you on, Dan. Talk to us. How is the atmosphere on your end of things? It's been a while since we've had a home match. Obviously, when we have home matches, it means more work, more excitement for you and the staff. How are things going heading into this match this weekend?
Yeah, so it's a weird season. And obviously, you come to all the games, so you know this. So when casual people say to me sort of how often, new fans say sort of when do you play? You say the standard answer is sort of broadly every other Saturday between March and October. I wish that were so this year. So we had, as you remember, the season began with back-to-back-to-backs. And then we had another back-to-back after that. Then we didn't have a game for 5 weeks, I think it was. Then it's been 3 weeks. We don't have another Saturday game after this one for another 7 weeks because we've got 2 Wednesday games. Then we've got another weird 3-week break. And then we've got a game, and then we've got 2 in a row, and then we're done, plus playoffs, of course. So it's been a bit of a weird season. So these long periods in between home games are a bit frustrating because obviously I think we said this on June 28th when we hadn't seen everyone for a while. We were talking about it in the office. We missed people. This is when you're a professional soccer team, the home games are a chance to come together with the fans, with each other. And I think it's been frustrating to not have a game. So we're excited to be back on Saturday. What we have done, though, is I think filled the time, I would say wisely, we're trying a few new things. I think at the beginning of the year when you had me on, I talked about always wanting to move forward from off the field. And we've tried a few new things. Obviously, you will have seen with partners, we redecorated what the GA looks like, and I think that's been a real success. But starting this week and running over the next few weeks, we're trying a few new events or events we haven't done for a while. I think I've said this to you guys before. In an ideal world, the theme for the match would be a soccer game, and we would fill up the stadium every week with soccer. But as you know, this is America. That's not how it works. Now, we're not doing a Hello Kitty night. We're not quite there yet, although I think that was one of the big wins for LAFC the other day. But we're taking a vineyard approach to Beer Fest. So we're having a crack at OCSC Uncorked Goals and Grapes, which I think might be fun on Saturday.
Can you expand a little bit about what that is going to be, Dan?
So people like booze. I don't know if you've realised this. People like drinking at our games. Responsible drinking, but still drinking nonetheless. And we've probably done 20 beer fests now, and we've had Vineyard say, could we come and do something? So we decided to build an event. So the similarity to Beer Fest is there's a pre-match drinking period. but there are some differences. So it's going to be a very, I think, how do you describe it? An elevated experience. So there's live music. It's going to be, the decor is going to be a little less beer and more wine. But we've got, I think it's 9 vineyards, 25 expressions. We're throwing in some tequila in there as well, just to keep people on their toes. But it's going to be it's still an Orange County Soccer Club event. So, it's still very football-y, but it'll be a nice wine event with a lot of nice local and regional wines. And just enough booze when you're unlimited tastings to get everyone ready to cheer the team on. So it's going to be this Saturday's. We were doing the planning meeting today. It's a bit crazy. The game is effectively it's definitely going to be a sellout. It's just whether it's a sellout or a sellout. But between Winefest celebrating our partner Hogue, we've got some other surprises related to first responders. There's a lot going on. It's going to be a really fun, packed house, and hopefully the sort of game that you want and some of the results that you've been predicting.
Let me ask you a quick question, sort of related. How and when is the club going to help make Brad happy and the CLC happy, and we do a Malort Fest at one of the home matches?
Sorry, your camera just froze there. Try that again.
A Malort Fest.
Oh, no, it froze again. Sorry.
Okay. Next question, Dan. Let's talk a little bit about soccer, shall we? Even though you do the operations side of things, we still know that you are a fan of the game and a student of the game. Pro Rel finally coming to America. What are your thoughts on it? How do you think it's going to affect the team? How do you think it's going to help the team in regards to our Orange County community who could be a little bit apathetic towards their professional sports teams?
It's a good question. So I am indeed a fan of football. I am very excited about promotion relegation. It is something that I have wanted from the first time I stepped foot on these shores 11 years ago. As some of you know, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, but I'm a fan of a team called AFC Wimbledon, and they have been promoted or relegated more often than your average team for a variety of reasons. And sort of the agony and drama and jeopardy and excitement that you get completely changes what football looks like. So you don't see it quite in the same way because it's not as obvious because there's no draft in football here, obviously. But we've all watched American sports teams take decisions at the end of the trade deadline to basically offload their best players and basically tank in order to secure better drafts. You've got end of season games that mean absolutely nothing. The keenness you feel in football. There was, I think, last year in the championship, with 3 games to go, every single team could have either gone up or gone down. So every game matters much deeper in the year. And I think that's really exciting. So I think there's a lot of different opportunities for us. Taking sort of both my bit of the business, but also Pete's bit of the business, in no particular order, I think 3 things. So first of all, sort of commercial value. So the broadcast company is already excited about promotion relegation. They're used to broadcasting European games. They want to see promotion relegation in America. I think it would really set us apart from the MLS. Sponsors would be more interested. There'd be a lot more value. There would be, in a very American way, this sort of decision day sort of stuff. I think there'll be partners keen to spend money on it. So I think from a revenue point of view, more games are exciting. Sponsors would be more interested. There'd be more coverage. So I think that's all good from the sort of growth of the club. I think the second part is on the player side. So the sort of player development model, which, as you know, we have to an extent pioneered with the club. I think promotion relegation adds just extra levels to that. So I think you will see teams in Division 1, hopefully we'll come up with a slightly better name by the time they come up with it, but the top division, they'll be loaning out players to the bottom divisions to help them develop. The players will get used to playing in these relegation battles, in these promotion runs. I think will make them more appealing to European teams who might be signing players who are more used to it. I think it just gives extra layers. I think it makes the top division of USL more legitimate, and also the lower divisions more legitimate as potential development funnels as well. So I think it's going to be really good from player development. And then I think the third thing is, from a fan's point of view, I think it's going to be amazing. I think, obviously this is still America, so there'll be people who come to games because there's wine fest and pups on the pitch and gnarly bobblehead night, and that's fine. But there will also be people who are really excited, either hopefully because we are like we sort of get at the moment with the playoff bubble that we're fighting to go up, but also frankly there'll be seasons, because this is how football works, where we could play a game which could decide whether we're going to spend the next year playing against the teams we are. We could be dropping down to be playing, the Spokanes of the world. So I think that promotion relegation will make it more exciting for the fans. It will be easier for fans to engage with the club. So for those who like the football part, I think it will be really good. So overall, huge fan. I think it will do a lot for us. And a final word, I mean, between the Open Cup and the Jägermeister Cup, I think there's probably been, I'd say, 20 cup sets this year between either USL teams beating MLS teams, or even just in the West. I mean, I think Oakland have lost about 3 times to teams from League One. Obviously, we lost on penalties to Antelope Valley. It shows that there's an appetite for cross-league games, and that you never quite know what you're going to get. So I'm all for it. I think it's a great step forward and a real differentiator for the USL.
Yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree more. And I have said for many years, since I started becoming a soccer fan when I was living in Europe, until America gets promotion relegation, it's not going to be viewed by the rest of the world as a top soccer league, be it MLS, be it USL Championship, USL League One. It's not going to compare. It never will. It can't without promotion relegation. So, pups on the pitch. Is that really a good idea? And don't get me wrong, I love dogs. Do we want dogs on the pitch at halftime?
So to be clear, we are. I think we've announced it, but in one of these 2 upcoming Wednesday games, we're having a crack at pups on the pitch again, which I think we did years ago, but way before my time. But we are going to be doing. We're going to be having people can bring their dogs, so they're not allowed on the pitch. To be clear,
Okay,
during the game. To be clear, but we are going to allow some people to bring their dogs into the stadium. There will be pooper scoopers and safe places for the dogs to relieve themselves. And I mean,
with Gnarly's image on it, right?
I mean, I was going to say I'm not sure I should be saying unfortunately, but we are not the first sports team in America to allow animals into the stadium. I think the Dodgers do it, Galaxy do it, Padres do it. So we are just another team allowing little canines into the stadium. So
Hey, look, I have a canine. She's sitting behind me chewing a bone nice and calm for once. I'm a little upset that it's a Wednesday game, given that I'm not in town, but I'm all for this idea. And just, I'm all for stuff like this. My brother's actually attending this Wine Week game for other reasons that I'll talk about in my random thoughts at the end of the show. But one of the big draws was, hey, we like wine. He likes soccer. Let's combine the two. So, although I do agree with you, it's a gimmick. It works, and it's necessary at this stage in American sports, especially football.
yeah, and look, maybe it shouldn't be the night I also decided to do fireworks again, but I think it'll be really good.
I just want to ask one quick question about the pups on the pitch. Are you going to have a dedicated section where Gnarly will actually play with the pups and spend some time with the pups? I think that would be a really good idea.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll react to him. I imagine his fur might be wet by the end of the evening. Yeah, no, I think we're gonna. There's lots of details to come out, but basically there'll be one seating section. So if you've got like a little lap dog and you want to bring it and sit in a normal seat, you can. But then part of the fan zone, there'll be a dog area, which we have to sort of rope off so that dogs don't go too near the food because that's a breach of the health regulations. But yeah, Gnarly will definitely be interacting with the dogs. And for those who are on Instagram and follow our skipper, Tom loves a dog. He's got a dog that appears in all his Instagram pictures, and by all accounts, our gaffer Danny's a bit of a dog fan as well. So the players are all in for this. The thing I really wanted to do it. I don't think we're going to do it. I think Sampdoria did it once, where the players came out holding dogs in the march out, and these are all dogs that you could be adopted. But I'm not sure we're ready to actually have players carrying dogs onto the field. But it will be, look, like I said, it's how you do these things. I mean, I'm trying to think. That's the same night that we've also got in and out truck there as well. So you come for the double doubles and stay for the dogs, or the other way around.
Just make sure In and Out has the pup patties ready.
Did they? I didn't know they did that, but there you go.
I'm sure they do. I used to give my dog cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
Order a pup patty, and they just don't season the meat and just give you a piece of meat with no seasoning on it.
Well, there you go. Right, good. Well, I'll make sure that is available from there. They have a limited menu in the truck, but we can see what we can do. So look, this is how it works. I mean, you should see the ideas that we don't take forward, but we are keen to
share some.
A few
I know.
You got to tell us about.
I do want to see these ideas, Dan.
What is the weirdest idea that just you're like, this cannot happen? Is there any idea you can share with us that just does not make it past the thought process?
And likely won't make it.
Well, Elder, it's come up like 3 times in this chat, but not me, obviously, because I'm English. But you may remember the former president, Jeff Garner, who had a minor league baseball background. He was utterly obsessed with doing monkey rodeo. It got talked about regularly. I don't quite know how it works. I think it's monkeys on the backs of dogs or dogs on the backs of monkeys. I'm not quite sure which way around it, but everyone all dressed as cowboys. Anyway, needless to say, it did not happen. Although I did notice that, because I follow Jeff on Instagram and I follow the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and they did have a mini Kiss concert the other day, which, as you know, is a miniature version of Kiss, with little people as the Kiss performers. If you want that stuff, move to Pittsburgh and go and watch the Riverhounds. We try and keep it to just dogs and wine.
No more lucha libre pitch side, huh?
No, I think we're doing yoga on the pitch before the game. Oh, actually, Larry, do you still do hot yoga?
I occasionally, not like I was 2 years ago.
So this isn't hot yoga, but it's yoga and it will be hot. So it'll end up being a version of hot yoga. So for the first Wednesday game, we do have hot yoga, and we're doing a paint and sip night as well. So it's all happening.
Paint and sip.
It's all happening.
Hey, you know what? Again, Orange County sports fans, you can see it at Angel Stadium. You can see it at Ducks games. They tend to be a little bit apathetic. They don't show up on time. They leave early. So whatever the team has to do in order to bring more people into the stands, the product that Orange County Soccer Club and that James and that yourself and Pete and Oliver in his day, that product is what's keeping people coming back. And instead of having an average of 3,100 fans per game, we've got an average of 4,400, and it's whatever it takes to get them in the door. Hey, do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the people write books about this. I still like my my favourite way to watch football, if I'm being completely honest, is to meet at the pub at 12 o'clock, drink until 2:40, run to the stadium, go through the gates at 1 minute to 3, watch the game, maybe have a pie at half time if the line isn't too long, and then go home. Like, that's how I was brought up. I tell you what, I would not want to run a football team in England. They shut the merchandise store during the game. People are not eating and drinking there because that's just not the tradition. So it's a very different business model. Obviously, over here, we try and do things. And we've done 2 new things this year, which I'm slightly biased, obviously, because I'm very involved in the decision-making. I thought, this is setting aside the football part, but I thought Star Wars night was fantastic this year. The faces of fans, young and old, getting their pictures taken with those incredible people walking around as the variety of characters. The music we did that night, I thought it rained, which I think hampered the crowd a bit that night, but it was a lovely evening. And Christmas in June was like Santa Gnarly, the snow zone and the fan zone. Like it's a bit odd. And like I said, they rather came for the football, but that's not how it works. And I think people came to that game. Now it was obviously a weird game. We played the youngest team in club history and ended up beating a very disgruntled Sacramento team who's the average age was like 8 years older than our players, and I think they thought they were going to win. But even if we'd lost that game, there'll be loads of people who remember the snow and remember the gnarly Santa. And that's what it's all about, because frankly, whatever it takes to get people to come to games. So you guys will come, whether it's theme night or not theme night, you're just coming for the football. And obviously there's a big group of fans like that. But there are other people, and I do this on baseball games. I'll look around and think, I'm going to go to 3 Angels games this year. Some I just pick because the date's convenient, but there'll be other ones. I'll be like, oh yeah, I quite fancy the drone show, or I've got a Millennium Falcon with the angel on the top. An angel with a Millennium Falcon on the top from the Star Wars night. I went to that game for that reason. That's how American sports work. So we've got to entertain people, whether they're here for the football or here for the bobbleheads or here for the snow or here for the wine. We just want people to come and watch the football.
Awesome. I got one question, and it's really not a question. It's more a request. Look, we've had you on the show like 6 times now, a lot of times. I feel like we've asked you every single question that a front office person could ever answer and more. But one of my favorite things that I love when you come on the show is you tend to ask us some questions back. So I'm going to give you some time to ask us each a question if you so happen to have anything in the artillery there.
So thank you. I like asking.
I believe you're pulling a
people
Brad
questions.
Oh no, I'm.
We good?
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, no, my computer messed up.
Okay, so my first question is, Brad, did you think you should buy a new computer? But
He's quick-witted, folks.
Let's start with Larry.
Nobody's going to understand that except me and you.
You've got a special relationship, Larry. Obviously, you're. This is quite a lazy question because you've just asked me this, but Larry, obviously you come for the football part of it. But what's the best theme night that you've been to at our stadium, and what's the best theme night that you've been to at a sports venue anywhere else in America?
The only sports venue that I would go to on a regular basis used to be the Angels, but that has been ruined by the front office as opposed to Orange County Soccer Club. So I haven't actually been to another sporting event outside of Orange County Soccer Club in like 5 years. When I was a kid, I used to love the 4th of July games at Angel Stadium or even Dodger Stadium. Very different fireworks show back in those days versus how they're doing it with the drones now. As for Orange County Soccer Club, yeah, Star Wars night. I mean, come on. I was 7 years old when that movie came out. Still, I own all 9 movies. I will go back and I will watch all 9 movies, and I'm going to throw Rogue One in there because, that's the 10th movie that ties it all together. So Star Wars night, without a doubt, was a lot of fun, and I thought it was a really cool idea.
Excellent. Ray.
I'm scared.
So obviously, as you know, I podcast. It's more work than I think people realise. Now, obviously, you're a fan of the team. Why do you spend? Why have you made so much effort to make this podcast and try and make this podcast good, with all the other things you could do in the world?
Ooh, that's a fun question to ask, and I think I've shared the story of how this whole thing even started multiple times on the show. But I love sports. For those that don't know, I am a huge Clippers fan, and I actually used to write for a Clippers blog. And for a brief, 2-month period, I had started a Clippers podcast. And in that period, this was back in 2018, I went to my first Orange County match. It was against Phoenix in a match where it started raining in like the 70th minute. We were trailing, and then I think they equalized as most of the fans were already driving away in their cars. After that match, I went to my ticket sales rep, which is Matt, so he's still with the club, and asked, "Hey, I do this. I've written for Clippers blogs. I'm interested in podcasting. What, is there any interest? Because I didn't see any coverage of Orange County, and I don't know if you're familiar already. Back in 2018, I mean, there was literally like no one covering except for Angels on Parade, which was part of SB Nation when they were still sort of old school SB Nation. And luckily, Matt got me in touch with the people that I needed to talk to at the club. They were all for it. We got things started, and I just somehow, some way convinced a young Dylan, who I think was 18 or 19 at the time, to be my co-host. We both didn't expect it to turn into this, where, what, 7 years later, we have a bunch of people that are contributing to this, including producer Andy in the background, Brad, Larry, Dylan. We've had people like Taylor, DK, a bunch of stuff, written stuff, and the club's been nice enough to bring us guests as often as possible. And really, it's become a fun time. I think all of us talk about this multiple times. This is a fun time for us, an hour on a Tuesday night or whatever night we're doing the show, and get to talk about a team that we love and get to talk to people and get to talk with each other. And we've built a lot of friendships. And one of the friendships I can say is Brad. Brad was a Reno fan, and we met specifically because of our podcast, and he was doing a podcast for Reno. And because we are big on collaborating, Brad became a friend of the show. He actually chauffeured Dylan and I around on one of our road trips up to Reno. And then when Reno folded, we open arm welcome to this show, and he's been a big part of the show since. So I think, I know I said a short answer, but that is all why we still do this, and why I started it, why I continue to do it, and why I enjoy doing it still.
Excellent. And you do an excellent job. Before I do Brad, is Andy allowed to talk, or is that not part of the rules?
If he rings the doorbell, he can. There he is.
Andy, who's your favourite player to have ever played for Orange County Soccer Club?
My favorite player ever played. Do I just get one?
Yes, that's why I said your favourite player.
Oh, I guess. I mean the that's tough. I'm gonna say Dylan Powers just because we were talking about the other day. He's like our cool uncle who like backpacks through the Himalayas and comes back with like melted snow from a glacier blessed by a shaman or something. He just seems like the cool uncle of the group. Close second is Aiden Quinn. I got to throw his name in there.
Yeah. Okay. Linked question: who's your favourite president of the business operations in the history of the club?
In the history, I think we've only had one. No, we've had two, huh? Jeff did bring me a lot of beer tickets.
I see.
Monkey rodeo.
But I can't drink, and I'm gonna clearly say I can't drink anymore. I'm not allowed to drink anymore, so I'm gonna put you as my favorite.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Brad. Yeah. I'm not sure what to ask you, Brad. Okay, tell us, what is your favourite thing about Orange County Soccer Club, and your least favourite thing about Orange County Soccer Club?
Ooh, okay. The second part's a little spicier. Definitely the CLC. I grew up very not connected to a lot of American soccer, or really the sport in general. When I first joined kind of my first soccer community up in Reno, the Battleborn Brigade welcomed me with open arms. And it's very much the same with the CLC. While I think the CLC and supporter groups in general like to take things too far, I introduced them to Malort, and somehow they make cocktails out of it now, which I think is the most weird, disgusting, yet wholesome thing I've ever seen. Some of the fans have Malort on their jerseys. which I think also is a strange obsession, but that's just sports fans in general and to a community American soccer fans. And that's one of the things I've really learned. I have a whole tub of scarves that a lot of the scarves in there I've traded with other fan bases. I have a San Diego Loyal scarf. I have multiple, Rip Fresno scarves, because that's just the fandom and how tight knit a lot of the supporter groups are. We don't have like ultras who go back and forth and cause harm to each other in most North American soccer because we're kind of like a rare breed out here. Our sport's not popular enough to begin with, so there's a mutual respect even amongst the most bitter of rivals. Now, my least favorite thing, the team definitely has a tendency to follow up the most amazing highs with the lowest of lows. In the past, while I believe change is important, I think the team has gone through a lot of head coaches, some of which I think should have been given longer, some of which I think, uh, had the ability to perform, and injuries play a lot of it. And I know a lot of it is American sports demand results, and therefore, if someone's not producing, uh, you got to just change the atmosphere there. Um, but I think we've been very spoiled in the past with a lot of the head coaches that we've had, you know, across the board. So a little a little bit of consistency doesn't hurt. Um, but hey, we won a championship right after having a replaced coach, and then we went straight to the bottom of the league the next season. That's the seesaw that is the USL, and everyone can win any week.
Very good.
Can I just jump in really quick, Brad? Hey, it's not just American sports. Look in England. A coach leads a team to a cup and then he gets fired. So I mean, it doesn't just happen in the US where you just have changes for changes.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you obviously look what happened at Spurs, but Alex Ferguson was about 3 games away from being fired, and then he had a reasonable career. It'd be fair to say after that, Man United, and they've had like 7 coaches since then. And if they'd given any of them as long as they gave Alex Ferguson, then maybe there'd be another era. But the world of sport has changed dramatically. I mean, we definitely don't take those decisions lightly about changing coaches,
Of course not.
particularly obviously when it was our former captain, assistant coach, then coach who won us the championship. But sport is brutal, and players win things and then get cut. Coaches win things and then get cut. I mean, that unfortunately is the nature of sport, and sort of that's why we love it. But that there's obviously a side to it that is a bit more brutal.
Like
Well,
obviously, just following up, I 100% agree with you. Like you asked me to give what I thought was the worst part of the team. I think very politically stating, that is my least favorite part. But that's just sport, and I recognize that. And the days of giving all the time in the world, a la Ferguson, are no more. People are very results oriented now.
Yeah,
and let's just say it's easier to fire one coach than it is to switch a 20-man roster and bring in a whole new roster. It's easier to deal with the one coach, which it sucks from the coaching aspect of it. Is you're sort of responsible even if the roster isn't up to par. But I mean, just be realistic. It's easier to switch coaches.
yeah. I mean, look, results is everything. Performance is everything. Every time I come on this show, I know this could be my last time I get invited on. It's just that sports is tough.
It's
Well,
funny.
especially
Ray says the same thing.
well, Dan comes on and asks the tough questions, man. We're going to be scared to invite him on because we're going to be scared for those tough questions.
You think those were tough? Those weren't tough.
Dan, any last message for any of the fans that are making it out this weekend or the remainder of the season?
So look, whether you like wine, first responders, dogs, yoga, painting and sipping. What else have we got? Beer fest. We've got another beer fest.
Monkey
Fan fest.
rodeo.
Monkey rodeo to be confirmed. And we're working on another couple of other events, some food related. whatever your reason, or even if you just like watching football matches, please come and watch us. This Saturday's going to be a sellout, which will be our 5th of the year, which would be the most regular season sellouts we've ever had. As we had 2 years ago, we had 5, and we've still got 7 matches to go afterwards. We're going to sell out more than half our games this year, and that's because whatever reason you come, you come. So please keep going. And I can't guarantee you what will happen on the field, but I can guarantee you that we are going to do our very best to make sure off the field that you are entertained and safe and enjoy it, and you can have a nice family-friendly trip to the football, whatever the reason it is that you're going.
Love it, Dan. I love it. Before we let you go, we're gonna include you in this tradition of our show. We're gonna go into random thoughts, and if you don't know what a random thought is for our show, Brad's gonna start off with random thoughts.
And this one I got to put you on the spot too. So I alluded earlier, my brother's going to be at the game. One of the reasons he's going to be at the game is the team has a new PA announcer coming up this week by the name of Steven Weinberg, who's making his debut. So I think that's random. I think that's cool. Steven's a great guy. He's gonna absolutely kill it. But Dan, I would like, if it is your side of the business that hosts this, maybe we can have him on the show one day to tell us about, kind of PA announcers POV. If not, hey, I get it. That's just the business.
That's not a question, so okay. Good thought.
Oh, can we please have? I'm just kidding.
Dan, do you have a random thought you want to share with our listeners? And I only ask because I know you have a lot of random thoughts that go through your head. You definitely like to talk, so I figured you have something.
So it's a lesser random thought, more random statement. So we do a lot of rewarding people internally in the office. So we do an employee of the fortnight that I run for my front office, and whoever gets it wins a prize, which is something from one of our sponsors. So it could be Raising Cane's voucher, a Taqueria Oy voucher, whiskey, tequila, beer. Anyway, so we do this every 2 weeks. Somebody won today, and they chose, what did they choose? They chose wine. They actually chose because it's uncorked. But we also sometimes I do little internal things for fun. And we ran a competition last week for the last game. Sorry, we asked staff internally to predict how many fans were going to come, what the single game ticket sales would be, how many Christmas burgers we would sell, a whole load of other stuff. We did a little internal competition. And I've just come back from a week in England, so I gave out the prizes this morning, and everybody got the 6 winners of the predictions all received an AFC Wimbledon pen. So
I'm sure they were
you
stoked.
can't accuse me of not being generous, and B, I thought you should know that they are being rewarded with, some regard as the ultimate pen in football is the AFC Wimbledon pens.
Now, is that a pin or a pen? PEN
Pen.
or PIN?
Pen. Yeah, I mean, pins are fine, but you can't write with pins. I want my staff to work, so I got them pens, AFC Wimbledon pens.
Okay.
That's the ultimate prize, Larry, or Babe. I'm sorry, Babe. You have a random thought?
Don't get in on mine and Dan's relationship, Ray. You're not invited on that part.
I'm just reading your name on the screen.
Sorry, can I?
Who changed that? I didn't do that. Oh,
Can I
you know what? Producer Andy did it. We'll talk about that, Andy. Go ahead, Dan.
Can I do one more random thought, which
Of
is not
course.
actually random at all? So I was, we did something today which was inspirational, and it's really nice when you run a football team. Obviously, you see fans at the game, and it's nice to talk to them. But every so often, you have a moment which makes you realise A, how privileged you are to work for a football team, but B, to really understand what the team means to people. So, as you may remember, we did a fan ownership scheme. And we now have nearly 2,000 owners of the club. And if you invested above a certain level, one of the things you get for investing above a certain level is invited to watch, exclusively invited to come and watch a training session and then have lunch afterwards. And we're running these at the moment. And so we did one today. I think it was about 20, 25 people were there. And I got to talk to people. There was a kid who'd saved up his pocket money to invest. Obviously, Larry was there today as well. But there was a guy who was a San Diego Loyal fan, and after they went bust, he liked our club and he became an owner of us. Never been to a game. There was another family season ticket holders. There's another guy who hasn't been to a game. There's an OCFA firefighter who flew helicopters over where my house was nearly burnt down during the fires, which was very nice to talk to, who was saying how much they love the club, but they only get to go to the games once or twice a year. And after the event finished, everyone came up to me and said how amazing it was to be invited to watch a training session, because it's not, I get to go whenever I like, but it's not something you get to see very often. And that sort of behind the scenes insight of a team that they own, be a small part of, and the response they had to coming and to talking to Danny was really affirming on like the power of sport to do good, what it can mean to people, what a little bit of access and community can do for people. So this isn't a particularly random thought. This is a very well thought out thought, but it was great. Like it was a really great. It was 3 hours out of my day in a game week, which is quite a lot. And it was so well used by me to meet all those people and hear those stories. It makes all of this, what you do, what we do, all makes worthwhile. Like sports more than just a game of football. And it was lovely to speak to these people and understand why they became owners. So that was my sort of inspired day today, meeting real fans and owners of the club.
There we go. Larry, random thought?
Yeah. I'm going to talk very, very quickly because what the hell is wrong with SDFC? How are you going to terminate the loan of the top scoring American in Major League Soccer because you don't want to pay him the money that he is so deserving of? San Diego, y'all can't get anything right. Y'all know I don't like the Dodgers, but San Diego, you're the unwanted stepchild baseball team, and you are the unwanted stepchild MLS team because how are you not going to sign a guy and build around a guy who is a hometown guy? San Diego FC, I hope you're listening right now. I'm talking to you. You screwed this one up, and Milan Olaski is going to blow up after what he did these last couple of months in MLS. So there you go. That's my random thought.
Random thought for me? I don't know. Monkey Rodeo, I guess. I think the fans are going to start demanding it. You might see some posters with written Monkey Rodeo at the stadium, Dan. So be on the lookout for that. Dan, as always, thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate it, and you spent some extra time with us this evening. We appreciate all the time you spent, and hopefully, let's get the sellouts going, man. Let's have some fun at the stadium.
Great. I'll see you for a glass of wine on Saturday.
Awesome. Again, everyone, President of Business Operations for your Orange County Soccer Club, Dan Rutstein. Thank you, Dan.